This episode is brought to you by Babylon Burning. Since 1976, Babylon Burning has been serving small businesses, nonprofits, and indie artists and operations like Storied SF. What began in a small utility room in Bernal Heights by an art school dropout today finds its home in the heart of South of Market. Mike Lynch and his family and crew took over in 2001, surviving the dot-com bubble, the Great Recession, the pandemic, and an ever-changing social climate. Please consider Babylon Burning for all your screen printing needs. Reach them at babylont.com and follow them on social media at Babylon Burning Inc.
Keeping it local means wherever I am, I'm considering resources and how I'm contributing at a very small level. So if I'm physically in San Francisco, keeping it local means specifically for me, how do I get anything that I need, or how can I help in any way that is Filipino community facing or neighborhood facing?
That was Carolyn Sideco. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco, a podcast about artists, activists, and small businesses that make this city unique. This is part 2 of episode 19, the last of season 7 of the show. Part of me wants to talk about what a wild ride it's been. Another part, the part of me that's exhausted and wants to float on the Russian River, wants to just get out of the way and let Carolyn finish her story. Yeah, that sounds good. Quickly, though, I want to ask you to please mark your calendars for Thursday, September 4th. That's when we'll be launching both Season 8 of Storied San Francisco and our accompanying art show. Every Kind of People will be up at Minibar September 4th through October 21st. If you can't make opening night, be sure to stop by sometime. I'm really excited about the lineup of artists, which isn't even finalized yet. Thanks, as always, for sticking with me through another memorable season of Storied SF. Here's my friend, Carolyn Sideco.
I'm so lucky.
You didn't necessarily know it, but you made good decisions.
Right, or yeah, I guess. I don't know how intentional a lot of those decisions were. A lot of my, especially professional decisions or work-related decisions were actually, I think, constructed out of need and necessity.
Sure.
So maybe this is a good segue to talk about being a single parent. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, and I was just going to say one more thing about that, is that there's a through line in your story arc, right?
Yeah.
Of whether it was necessarily intentional, it was how you were raised, how you found the thing that you loved, and then you just went with it.
Well, even through from that fourth grade experience of volleyball, and I started learning about sports in general. My grandmother, who also then came to the United States, very limited English. This is my mom's mother, who I thought was actually my dad's mother.
Oh.
Because they had a great relationship. And so I thought, when I found out that my grandmother who lived with us was my mother's mother, my mind was blown. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Lola is mom's mom? I thought she was dad's mom. Anyway, I dealt with that. That was great. And what I shared with her when she was with us still was this growing love for watching sports. We'd watch, back then it was only the Atlanta Braves that were on TV. And so I became
on TBS, right?
on TBS.
Yeah.
Yep. I became a Braves fan, and a fan specifically of the player Dale Murphy, for those sports fans way back in the day. And I started watching football, whatever was on broadcast TV.
Right. If you're lucky enough to get the 49ers on the thing, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't every game.
Right. The Giants were horrible those years, but I loved the Giants because we could go to a game I could
gonna
get on a
ask.
bus and go to a game and pay $1.50 and sit in the bleacher section of Candlestick Park.
Bananas.
My dad would come and pick us up around the seventh inning, and he'd hang out for the rest of the game for free.
Lucky
So
him.
yeah, and we'd sit there and
And like how many layers?
lots of
Yeah,
layers.
Yeah.
Well, we were used to layers because he
Sure.
out here by Ocean Beach. To go to the beach, we would dress up in layers. So going to the beach meant you get your biggest jacket, sweaters, hats, scarves.
That's just practice for going to Giants games.
Correct. It was the same. It was the same requirement.
Yeah.
Whether the beach or the ballpark, ballpark or the beach, you'd wear the same clothes.
And what about, sorry, I have to ask, did you go to Warriors games or?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not too often. Not too often.
At the
Warriors
Coliseum.
weren't very good either.
Right.
We go to sporting events at the Cow Palace.
Yeah.
But it was Candlestick Park for sure. Watching a lot on TV. And my dad was also learned how to bowl. We'd go bowling.
Yes.
We live right across the street from the polo field, so that's where we would go as a family. And literally, there are pictures of us as a family, like running all together around the polo field. Like, who does that?
I don't know,
now?
but I love that. I love it.
and we would do that as a family.
Is that before folks played soccer in the inside of the ring, or were they doing
Maybe
it then?
people were playing soccer. I don't remember. I don't remember, like, organized sports was at school.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't play any organized sports outside of school.
Got it.
In high school, we went to Mercy High School in San Francisco.
Okay.
Again, single gender school. My mother, that was the only school that they would consider. And
Catholic
many,
school.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same bus, like
Oh, just in a different direction, or
just same bus I took in high school, the 29. The Muni 29 line would also take me to San Francisco State. So,
Yep.
which was the only college that I applied to
Okay.
at the time.
Can we talk
So,
about that real quickly?
sure.
Because for folks who, and you did almost all of your growing up here.
Correct.
For folks who grew up here and are still here. Okay, sorry, let me back up. For folks like myself who transplanted, sort of in my early adulthood in my story, there's a reason I came here, right? But for folks who were raised here and are still here, there's a reason they didn't leave. Right? Was it ever a question for you? You just said, you just hinted that
Yeah.
it wasn't, but
No.
like, did you ever even entertain the idea? Maybe let's say as a senior or junior in high school.
I did not, because in high school, I already knew that I wanted to be a sports writer.
Okay.
I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be the first woman anchor at ESPN.
Yes.
That was my goal.
Wait a second. So SF State, did you do journalism?
I enrolled as a journalism major my first year.
That's what I did. Yes. I mean, many years later.
And
Anyway.
I had, in high school, I was prepping for that because in high school, I wrote for our school newspaper, The Anchor.
Yes.
So at Mercy, San Francisco, we were the skippers. And I wrote for The Anchor. Mrs. White was our journalism teacher, instructor. And I had my own column. I had my own sports column. It was
Okay.
called Off the Bench.
Yes. Yes.
It was so good. And I would write about whatever I wanted to write
amazing.
about sports. And I wrote about sports and social context, sports, and like, what are we doing here? And
As a teenager.
as a teenager,
Amazing.
I interviewed Dale Murphy of the Atlanta Braves.
Oh.
I literally called the Giants, or I called the Braves, and I knew where teams would stay, what hotel they would stay at, and I would get autographs of players, and I asked Dale Murphy, can I interview you for my school paper? And he said, sure. He goes, can you
Yes!
call our press guy? Call this man. He'll make it happen.
Coordinated, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I did. I made my dad go with me, I think to Sears or somewhere, so I could get a recorder.
Sears at Geary and Masonic?
Yes.
I live over there.
Yeah. And so I had to buy a tape recorder, and then we made it happen. I interviewed Dale Murphy on the field, right by home plate, about an hour before the game. And I remember he's like 6'5",
Right.
and I at the time was probably the same height I am now, like 4'10". And I remember holding up the tape recorder up to him, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I look like the Statue of Liberty holding up this tape recorder, and I can't even see if it's on, or, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I
Sure.
think I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a piece on it for the Anchor, and one of the school's coaches wrote back that the school needs coverage. The school's teams needed coverage, and why was the sports coverage for
The Braves.
for the Atlanta
Not even the
Braves?
Giants.
Not
The
even
Braves.
the Giants.
Yeah.
And I remember, and this coach, bless his heart, because he was a state championship coach for our school. And I was adamant. I'm like, I am a sports journalist. Even the high school scene was a little bit beneath me. That was my
Wow.
ego. My ego was like,
Wow.
I'm beyond this.
You're already aiming high.
I'm doing Major League Baseball coverage.
Yes.
How am I going to be an ESPN anchor without this in my CV? Right?
Yeah.
So, although I was very, very nervous. So I had my own sports column. That probably was the same sort of ego that reassured me that I only needed to apply to one college,
Okay.
which was San Francisco State University. So when I did get my acceptance letter, I was like, yeah, duh. You know? And I enrolled as a journalism major. And then a year and a half in my third semester, I got pregnant.
Okay.
And that was also the last semester where I took my first Asian American studies course.
All right.
So that started this whole change.
Okay. Thanks to the strikes and everything in the
Exactly.
ethnic studies department. Yes.
Exactly.
Love
Learned
it.
about that.
Love it.
Started to follow Oscar Peñaranda around the city, and really wanted to make sure that, again, I'm close to my roots, not just as an immigrant, right, to San Francisco, but really now as a Filipino American.
Right.
And I hadn't known anything about the long history of Filipinos in America until college, until I learned about the strikes, until I learned about Larry Itliong, until I learned about the establishment of the Ethnic Studies College.
Do you know if your parents knew any of that, especially
No.
here in like Manila Town and Soma and all, different communities
They knew of that
after they were here,
after they were here and while they were living through it.
right?
So
Oh, right.
even when, so they weren't narrating it to us, right? But they were living through it. They were taking us to the Mabuhay Gardens down in North Beach. They were taking us to these places. They were, they knew people who had, who were living there at the I Hotel. They knew about the strikes, although they didn't participate in it, right? And when I started learning about that and interacting with people who were directly related to that, I would ask my parents about it, and they didn't, think it was a big deal, right?
It's
And
just Tuesday.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and in that time, I was a young single parent. I was living here with my parents, and I started really delving deeper into Filipino American identities, especially mine, and our migration story. And that's when I started being a bit militant with my father. Like, why did you even bring us here? What
This is like mid 80s, probably
This
mid to
is
late 80s.
this is yeah, late
Late
80s,
80s. Late
late
80s. Sorry.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
late 80s. So simultaneously navigating single parent life of a mixed son, the racial tensions that I experienced, that we navigated as a family, those were tough days.
Sure.
Those were tough days.
And also, I mean, in hindsight, you were young.
Yes. Yeah.
You're a baby yourself.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and I was like, again, my ego and my confidence.
I was saying, don't tell that
was-
to Carolyn then.
I was like,
but you, yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, like I know everything,
Sure,
right? Like
sure.
I remember telling my husband at the time, who is now an ancestor. I remember telling him at the time that we were going to raise our son in a way that he would bring the blackness because he's black, and I would bring the Filipino-ness because I'm Filipino. And then together, that would be enough to like raise our son. And I was wrong. I'm still wrong. And so my thinking had to change, right? And my thinking has changed around that. But back then, that was how I thought.
Right. So I saw on the wall, you graduated.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then was
From
it
San Francisco State?
From San Francisco.
Yes, I did.
Gators.
I returned to school.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's another though inflection point. Was it ever a question of whether you were going to stay here in the Bay?
Well, I did live in South City for a quick minute.
That's the Bay. And as we've discussed, those lines.
Right. But
it's even right there in the name.
Right. Exactly. And we know how us Bay folks coddle our zip code and our area code,
codes, yeah.
right? Yeah. Zip code and area code carry a lot of value and meaning here in the Bay. And yeah, like I always knew I was tethered here. I always felt that, especially being a single parent, already having 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
And raising a young black boy with the help of families here that I not that I never felt like I couldn't leave, but why would I?
It's like I said, it wasn't even a question.
Right. Yeah, why would I? The
Yeah.
support system is here. We have what we needed. We were supported. And this is home.
Community.
Yeah.
It's a buzzword now, but
Yeah.
I'm glad it's a buzzword.
Yeah.
Because it's always been important.
Right.
I know this is a podcast about San Francisco. It's literally what we're talking about right now. But I want folks, as part of getting to know you, I want them to know your New Orleans story.
Oh,
Maybe condense it a little bit.
yes. We could do that.
Because also I know that that's important to you. It's also a big part of how our lives all intersected. And for those folks who I haven't already met and told this, San Francisco and New Orleans are psychic seaports.
Yes.
I love that. I'm going to just look it up. Anyway, so yeah, what is your New Orleans story?
New Orleans story, this is how I usually start it. Based here in San Francisco and in the Bay, that New Orleans has been calling me, or that area, the southern Louisiana, has been calling me for about 20 years. My younger sister Jocelyn lived there for a while. My older son Giorgio served in AmeriCorps for 7 years. No, for 3 years served in AmeriCorps and lived there in New Orleans for 7 years. So during this time when my family members were there, our family was going back and forth to New Orleans to do service, to visit with them, of course, and to support them. And during that time, 20 years or so, in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, and in those years, I was being drawn to the place. Around 2012, 2013, sometime around there, I learned of the historical markers that were there in the area that taught folks about the earliest Filipinos as the first Asians in the area. And I said, wait a second, is this why? Is this why I feel called to it? Right?
Your
It's
ancestors.
right.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I like to say now that for 20 years, the ancestors have been calling me to the place, and it's in the last 3 years that my body finally followed.
Oh, yeah.
So Giorgio, my older son, got married there in New Orleans, and our family went there, and it was solidified in my mind and in my heart that I could live there and that I wanted to spend more time there. My husband Marcus came up with a plan. We presented this plan to my cousins, and they consented. And now we have a house in New Orleans that we call Kapwa Blue. Kapwa is the Filipino word for interconnectedness. And this design and this intention to bring the Filipino sort of collective, like living in a community, literally in a compound with houses next to one another, as my mom and my aunt do now. We kind of wanted to bring that spirit into the kind of work and how we wanted to be in New Orleans, because we were there, because Jocelyn had been there and worked there with her organization called Contemplatives in Action. We wanted to be there in solidarity with the work that folks like Giorgio were doing with AmeriCorps, and literally in gratitude for the fact that my eldest son, my firstborn, was literally held in that community, that specific community, for his formative years as a
Right,
young man.
right.
So he didn't go to college, and he didn't choose that route. As a single parent, I was like, dude, it's either the military or the seminary. So Jocelyn actually kind of pulled him to New Orleans and to that good work, and I was kind of pushing him. And in that energy, our whole family gets pulled in.
Right.
And that's how we are there now. And for the past 3 years, I've been personally asking continually for permission of the land, of the people there, cultivating relationships because I'm not from there.
Right.
And part of that is in sharing this portal that is, as you describe, right, the Bay Area and its connection to New Orleans, southern Louisiana, and what we call now the Bay to the Bayou, or the Bayou to the Bay,
Yep.
where the house is an asset and a beacon almost to the work that's being done by all different people in building Filipino, Filipino American, Filipino Louisianan energies and community there that is already connected to the Bay well, really all over the world, obviously, because Filipinos are all over the world. But this sort of grounding and tethering into a place that's kind of disappearing.
Right.
So what does that mean for migration patterns? What does that mean for how we talk of our history collectively? And so these parallels are what also connect us all together. So what we've been doing, what we're also cultivating and building out there in New Orleans, is a way that through historical ancestral tours of the area, that's what we offer to people when they come to New Orleans and they want to find themselves. They want to pay respects to ancestors. They want to learn collectively how this happened, that Filipinos were there, and how were they there, how did they interact, and how did they live in community with other marginalized communities,
Right.
with maroon populations, with the indigenous folks there. How did that look like, and what of that can help us
Right.
now live into our futures together? What does it mean for us in this context when we are literally all over the place?
And so you're doing your part
I'm
in this one part of the world.
I'm doing what I love having fun in.
Yes.
And for some people that, again, that goes against this whole sacrifice
Right.
narrative.
Right.
Right? Like I'm being called to it, and it's nourishing me, and if I'm tending to my needs, then that's what I share. That's what I can contribute to community building, right?
Right.
And to be able to say to a place, this is what I also need, and for that place and those people of that place to reciprocate, that's why I'm there.
Right. For folks listening who might be interested, if they find themselves or if they make their way, how do they find your tours?
We have an Instagram account at Bayou Barkada, BAYOU BARKADA. You could find us there. We don't have a website. I like to say that we are a loosely formed
Okay.
group of Filipino identified and Filipino flavored folks who want to get to know, who are interested in Filipino history, who are interested in learning about themselves and others and the land.
I'll just say I count myself among them.
Yes.
And next time I'm there, I want to do the tour for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, let's bring it back to the Bay now. And again, yeah, we're going to have to kind of
Yes,
breeze through.
yes.
I just want folks to know what you're up to now here.
Okay. In San Francisco. So currently, I have a sports consultancy. It's called Coaching Kapwa. I call myself a sports relationship coach. I actually call myself your sports relationship coach.
Okay.
So what Coaching Kapwa does is, again, I provide this accompanying feeling for folks in the sports ecosystem, coaches, athletes, administrators, parents, anyone who's interfacing with our sports ecosystems. That's that's what I do. So right now, what that looks like literally is, for instance, I'm a consultant with the Positive Coaching Alliance for their Bay Area Youth Sports Equity Coalitions.
Okay.
So I bring my 20 plus years of sports coaching and sports administration lens into how do we corporatize this? How do we do this in a way that is not narrowly the extractive competition frame of what American sports is? So broadening that lens with a healthy respect for American sports.
Sure.
And also, it's more of an expansion of everything else sports can be.
Right.
So it's an additive. I do wellness workshops. I do retention. I'm called on a lot to help recruit folks, whether it's coaches, officials, administrators, into roles that our sports ecosystems generally extract from.
Oh,
So
you
I'm
reverse that.
yeah. So I'm usually kind of like, when the program is burning or on fire, I come in and like, can you help fix this, or can you help us get more basketball officials officiating? Can you help us keep kids playing?
Oh, yeah.
Things like
That's
that.
a tough one. Retention.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Retention, recruiting. So very concretely, that's what I do as a sports relationship coach.
Got it.
One-on-one sort of wellness things, so people can stay in these sports ecosystems that they love. Leveraging our positive experiences with sports into professions and careers that also benefit and transmit that same positive energy.
That's just good teaching too, right?
Oh, it's so
I've
fun.
done this and it's rewarding, and here you can do it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love
Sharing
that.
that. So sharing. So in sports, it's counterintuitive, right? In sports, we're taught that elitism is good, that sharing is not good,
Right.
that being the best can only be designated for one person or one team, and a sharing, just like mutual aid in our broader
Right.
society,
Right.
right? Where mutual aid and those sorts of tenets of what a sharing economy looks like, that is counter to how we've kind of been using American sports.
Right.
And yet, it's also this concept of teamwork and collaboration and, enduring together that sports always throws into our face. And then when sports is done with our fandom, then they'll just kind of spit us out. So my my kind of frame is, when sports spits you out, I want to be there to help you get back there.
I love that. Every episode, at this point in the episode, I like to leave people with guess interpretation of my theme for the season. And my theme this season, and this is the last episode of the season. I saved the best for last. Sorry, everyone else. The theme is keep it local. What does that mean to you?
Keeping it local means wherever I am, I'm considering resources and how I'm contributing at a very small level. So if I'm physically in San Francisco, keeping it local means specifically for me, how do I get anything that I need, or how can I help in any way that is Filipino community facing or neighborhood facing? Specifically neighbor facing. When I'm in New Orleans, it's how am I facing, what am I doing for and with Filipino Americans in New Orleans, residents of New Orleans, and also the needs of my neighbors in the 9th Ward, and in the areas where I consider ancestrally bound. So for me, that means St. Bernard Parish. That also means Barataria Bay. It means San Francisco, 7x7 San Francisco, and it means San Francisco Bay Area. What is it that I can do locally, local groups? And then how does that feed into what can I do locally that then feeds into a more national thing? But even my work with Positive Coaching Alliance as a national organization, but I'm hyper-focused on the San Francisco and the Oakland Youth Equity Coalitions, right? So the work has to be with people I see and I interact with on a daily basis. Hyper-local.
That was Carolyn Sideco. We'll be taking a little time off, mostly the month of August. Look for some reruns here and there, but feel free to browse our archives on our website and wherever you get podcasts. And please mark your calendar to join us on September 4th as we celebrate the launch of Season 8. See you at Minibar for every kind of people. Music for Storied San Francisco was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Our contributing producer is Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 7th season, we have more than 270 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If possible, please rate and review the show. I want to know what you think. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at storiedsf, and reach out to us there or email us at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Be super careful crossing the street, and keep being wacky, creative, and kind out there. See you next time on Storied San Francisco. We acknowledge and respect the first humans of the unceded land we call San Francisco, the Ramaytush Ohlone. We condemn the genocide of these and other tribes across the Western Hemisphere. We honor their legacy and history, and we support rematriation and sovereignty efforts.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcasts.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.